Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at unit conversions, basically converting lengths between meters, inches, miles, kilometers, feet, etc., converting time, converting volume and surface area, and we'll be doing all kinds of unit conversions. Now, if you're unfamiliar with doing some surface area and volume equations, I recommend going back to the lessons in section 10.4 through 10.7 on surface area and volume. I have a few videos up with that. For these warm-ups, if you want to practice on these warm-ups, I believe the answers are 345 point something for the first one, and then for the second one it's 3,000 and something. I believe 3,120 cubic centimeters or cubic meters for the second one. But again, go back to those other videos if you need some help with surface area and volume, because today we're going to be doing some conversions. A few conversions for you. Several of these numbers I bet you already know off the top of your head. Miles to feet. There are 5,280 feet in a mile. Inches to centimeters. This is one that you may or may not know. There are 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. Yards to feet. There are 3 feet in a yard. If you convert that to inches, 3 feet in inches is going to be 3 times 12, which is going to be 36 inches inside of a yard. 1 meter to centimeters. Now, this word centa usually means 100. If you think how many cents are in a dollar, or how many years are in a century, that's going to be 100. There are similarly 100 centimeters inside 1 meter. Mil, that word mil, if you think about the new millennium, the new 1,000 years, there are 1,000 millimeters inside of 1 meter as well. Similarly, kilo tends to stand for 1,000 as well. There are 1,000 meters in a kilometer. This next number up here is a special number, 43,560 square feet. Imagine for a moment that you have a square that is 1 foot, right? 1 foot by 1 foot. You want to figure out how many, think about how big that 43,560 square feet are. It's going to be a pretty big area. That number is very important, particularly to agriculture and farming. This is 1 acre. All right. 1 acre of land is 43,560 square feet. Converting into time here now, I'll go and switch back to blue. Time, 1 hour is obviously 60 minutes. You're well familiar with that. The number of seconds in an hour now, if you take 60 multiplied by 60, you're going to get 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. And we're going to be using that quite a bit when we convert between feet per second and miles per hour. A liter, this goes back to the milli being 1,000. 1,000 milliliters inside of 1 liter. If you imagine picking up also 1,000 cubic centimeters inside of a liter. Imagine picking up a liter bottle of soda, right? 1 liter bottle of soda. If you imagine having a bunch of centimeter cubes drawn in that are 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. Imagine that on your hands. Look at a ruler. 1 centimeter is relatively small. Think of a cube that's 1 by 1 by 1 centimeter. 1,000 of those would fit in a bottle of soda that is 1 liter. Last couple of numbers for you here. Gallon versus feet. There is 0.134 approximately cubic feet per gallon. Think of a cube. If a cube is 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot, there are going to be several gallons of milk, several gallons of water that would be able to fit inside a 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot box. Last number here, kilograms. There are approximately 2.2 pounds per kilogram. It always makes me feel a lot better talking to somebody from Europe or somebody from another country that uses the metric system, because I can divide my weight by 2.2 and all of a sudden I weigh less than 100 kilograms. So it sounds way better than weighing 200 pounds, which is just fine in its own right because I'm pretty tall. Oh well. So these are the numbers we're going to be using. Please jot these down in a notebook because we are going to be using these numbers to convert between several units in just a moment. For example, personally, I am 6 foot 2 inches tall. If I want to know how many centimeters tall I am and I want to tell somebody, let's say my cousin who lives out in Germany, I want to tell him how many centimeters tall I am because that's more meaningful to him, I can go and convert my height. I'm going to first convert this all to units. All right, so I am 6 foot 2 inches tall. If I go ahead and take 6 feet and I multiply that by, for every 1 foot, all right, for every 1 foot, excuse me, I need to put that on the bottom because I need feet to cancel. For every 1 foot, there are 12 inches, all right? If I go ahead and cancel out my units, I have feet on top, imagine this is over 1, and feet on bottom. I'm left with 6 times 12, which is going to be a 72 inches. If I add on that extra 2 inches that I have, plus 2, I am 74 inches tall. All right? I want to convert that to centimeters now. I am 74 inches tall. I can go ahead and create a fraction. I want to cancel out inches, so I'm going to choose to put inches on the bottom because currently inches is on top. All right? I want to cancel out inches. I want to, in the end, have centimeters. All right? Look back at the table on the previous slide, the one that you just wrote down. There are 2.54 centimeters for every 1 inch. I'm writing inches on the bottom because inches are going to cancel out. All right, inches are going to cancel out here. And I'm going to be left with 74 times 2.54. All right, 74 times 2.54. Toss that in my calculator real fast. I believe that's a 180 something centimeters tall. Give me a moment to get my calculator out. 74 multiplied by a 2.54 is indeed a 187, almost a 188 centimeters. I personally am 188 centimeters tall. We know that because our inches canceled out. We multiplied the 74 by the 2.54 and we are left with just centimeters for units. We can work backwards from here. All right, and by the way, incidentally, since there are 100 centimeters in a meter, I can move the decimal point over a couple and I can say this is 1.88 meters as well. All right. If my German cousin tells me that he is 1.72 meters tall, he's a little shorter than I am, I can convert this to centimeters. All right. This is equivalent to 172 centimeters. I can move the decimal point over a couple. 172 centimeters. I can write that out. He is 172 centimeters tall. This time I want to cancel out my centimeters, all right? I currently have centimeters on top. I want to cancel it out. This time around, centimeters are going to be on the bottom with inches on top. I know that they're 200 or 2.54 centimeters for every 1 inch. I'm going to cancel out this time the centimeters. This time I'm going to be dividing, all right? 172 centimeters divided by 1 inch per every 2.54 centimeters. I'm going to be dividing these two numbers. 172 divided by a 2.54. 172, toss that into my calculator. And that turns out to be, my cousin is 67.7 inches tall. All right, 67.7 inches tall, almost 68 inches tall. If I want to figure out how many feet / inches that is, I'm going to go ahead and write up here. Hopefully that's visible. I'm going to divide 67 divided by 12. That's going to give me some sort of decimal. Yeah, it's going to give me a 5 point some. All right, if I know 5 feet is 60 inches. So he's going to be 5 feet. All right, so 5 foot and 7.7 inches tall. All right, 5 foot, 7.7 inches tall he's going to be, just because 5 feet make up 60 inches and I have 7 0.7 inches left. Now we can convert 2 units at a time if we like. Suppose you're driving down the interstate, you've just received your license, and you're driving at the appropriate 60 miles per hour. All right, I'm going to write that as 60 miles, and per always represents dividing. You're traveling at 60 miles per hour. Now the question is, if you look out your window and you count 1/1000, 1 single second, all right, I want to know how many feet just traveled between you saying 1/1000, 1 second. Well, we can convert both miles into feet. We're going to convert miles into feet. We also want to convert hours into seconds. So here's what we're going to do. I want to convert miles first. All right, I see that miles is on top, so I'm going to put miles on the bottom so that they cancel out. I want to convert this into feet, and I know that 5,280 feet go into a mile, into 1 mile. Similarly, I see, oh, and by the way, miles will just cancel here. Miles will just cancel. Currently we have feet per hour. I also want to convert hours into seconds. I see that hours is on bottom right now, so I'm going to go and put hours on top, and I want to convert that into seconds. I know from our sheet on the first slide that 1 hour converts into 3,600 seconds. All right. And once I have that down, hours are going to cancel out. The only units that we have left, on top we have feet left, on the bottom we have seconds left. All right, so we have feet on top, seconds on bottom. That's going to give us feet per second. I can go ahead and multiply the top, 60 times 5,280, and on the bottom, and times 1 by the way, but the 1 doesn't matter. On the bottom I have 1 times 3,600, which is just 3,600. If I divide those numbers, I'll toss that into my calculator. 60 multiplied by 5,280 divided by 3,600. That gives me 88. All right, that's all equivalent to 88 feet per second. All right, this would be my overall speed, 88 feet per second. Every single time you count 1/1000, you've gone 88 feet if you're traveling 60 miles per hour. So that's an example of converting 2 different units at 1 single time. Now it gets a little bit different when we're converting area. If you're looking to buy a square property, suppose you want to purchase some property and you know that this property is 30 yards by 30 yards. I'm going to start by converting this into feet, all right, because I want square feet. 30 yards by 30 yards, I know that there are 3 feet is equal to 1 yard. So I can go ahead and write out 30 yards, multiply that by, there are 3 feet per every 1 yard. All right, yards are going to cancel. Yards cancel. We're left with just feet over 1. 30 times 3 is 90. So 30 yards is really 90 feet. All right, it's 30 by 30, it's really 90. So if I want square feet, I can go ahead and just do the area equation, base times height, 90 times a 90. And that's going to equal, well, 9 times 9 is an 81. We have a couple of zeros. 8,100 feet squared. All right, 8,100 feet squared. I do want to point out here that you can't just do 30 times 30, which is 900, and multiply it by 3. You're going to get an entirely different answer. Here's why. If you start out with a square, all right, suppose the square is 1 yard by 1 yard. And you split this into feet, all right? So I have one single line, 1 foot, 1 foot. This splitting into 3 different 1 foot segments. Similarly, horizontally, we'll do the exact same thing. There aren't 3 square feet in here in this 1 square yard. There are in fact 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 square feet in a square yard. I can go ahead and write that out. 1 yard squared is going to equal 9 feet squared. So I could have approached this problem similarly. I could have said, well, 30 times 30 is equal to 900. That's the area in yards squared. All right. And then multiply that by 9. Multiply that by 9. That's going to end up giving us the 8,100 square feet. Now if I want to convert that to square miles, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with 8,100 square feet. All right. This square feet, another way of writing square feet, I know it's going to sound a little goofy, but it's just feet. All right. Anything squared is it times itself. This is 8,100 feet. If I want to convert this to miles now, I'm going to have to divide twice. All right. I want to get rid of one of these feet. So I know 5,280 feet fits in 1 mile. All right. That's going to cancel out one of my feet, one of my sets of feet. I'm also going to need to multiply this exact same thing again. All right. 1 mile divided by 5,280 feet. That's going to cancel out the second set of feet. All right. That's going to leave us with 81,000 or 8,100, 8,100. I'm dividing that by 5,280 and dividing that by 5,280 a second time. That's going to leave us, if you're following along with your calculator, that's going to leave us with 0.00029 miles squared. Notice that I have miles squared because I have miles multiplied by miles. Units also just go ahead and square. If you have miles by miles, it's miles squared. Now this doesn't sound like a lot, but imagine for a moment 30 yards by 30 yards, so about a third of a football field by a third of a football field. That's not very much space when you think about it relative to a full mile by a full mile. There's a tremendous number of square yards that can fit in 1 square mile. All right. So that's conversion, doing area conversions this time. Looking at this next problem now, square feet, we have square feet, we want acres. I'll switch over to, what other colors do I have? Yellow, no, that's not going to work. Red, green maybe. Green's lovely. 8,100 square feet. I'm going to have issues with green when I get over here. Oops. 8,100 square feet. I want to go ahead and convert that to acres. We do have a unit conversion that converts acres over to square feet. Let me think. That was 4,000. I don't remember the number off the top of my head. I'm going to have to come back to that. 81,000 square feet. Let's remember that. 43,560. All right. Let's get back to this. 43,560. So 8,100 square feet multiplied. We want to get rid of, I might as well switch to blue so it's visible. We want to get rid of square feet. 43,560 square feet end up making 1 acre. So if we divide these two numbers out, 8,100 divide by 43,560, we're going to be left with this being about 0.186 acres. We're going to look at one last example. This example is probably the most intense one that we're going to look at. Converting between liters versus gallons. Now if you look back at our equations, I did not give you a gallon to liter equation. All right, so we're going to have to kind of road map this a little bit. We want to convert between gallons and liters. We currently have liters. All right, what we're going to do, we're going to convert liters over to centimeters cubed. We're going to convert centimeters cubed over to inches. All right, so we can convert between centimeters cubed and inches cubed. I'm going to convert between inches and feet. We know there are 12 inches in a foot. So I'm going to make this into feet. Lastly, we have a conversion that goes between cubic feet and gallons. So we're going to convert between cubic feet and gallons. So this is going to be a four-step problem here. Liters to cubic centimeters to cubic inches to cubic feet, and cubic feet over to gallons. Let's start this one off. This is probably the most intense one of the day. We're starting out with 2 liters, all right? 2 liters. I want to turn that into cubic centimeters. According to our conversions, I know that 1 liter is 1,000 cubic centimeters. I see that liters is on top, so I'm going to put 1 liter on the bottom, which is equivalent to 1,000 cubic centimeters. All right. Liters is going to cancel out. Liters cancels out. Liters cancels out. That leaves us with us having 2,000 cubic centimeters worth of soda. That's step 1. I might have to erase here a couple of times for the rest of the steps. So now we're going to start with 2,000 cubic centimeters of soda. I want to convert that to cubic inches. Here's where it gets a little bit tricky. We have cubic centimeters currently, all right? I know I want to start getting rid of cubic centimeters. Another way of writing cubic centimeters is centimeter by centimeter by centimeter. So essentially what I'm going to have to do right now, I'm going to have to cancel out centimeters 3 times. I'm going to do 1 inch on top, 2.54 centimeters on the bottom. All right, 1 inch on top, 2.54 centimeters on the bottom. That's going to cancel out 1 set of centimeters, leaving with inches. I'm going to have to do that 3 times. So I'm going to have to do another 1 divided by 2.54, and then one final 1 divided by 2.54. All right. These are in inches on top and in blue centimeters on the bottom. All right. For each one of these, 1 set of centimeters is going to cross out. Another set of centimeters can go ahead and cross out. And we're going to be left with really 2,000 divided by 2.54 3 times. Another way of writing that is 2,000 divided by 2.54 to the 3rd power. All right, since we're dividing it by 2.54 3 times, that's the same as dividing it 2.54 to the 3rd power. 2,000 divided by 2.54 to the 3rd power. That's going to give us about 122.04 cubic inches. I'm getting cubic inches from inches up top, inches up top, inches up top. We have 3 sets of inches left, so that's cubic inches. All right, 122.04 cubic inches. We have 2 steps left. Let's remember that 122.04. I'm about to clear my screen. All right, so 122.04 inches cubed. I need to convert this now into cubic feet. All right, so we're going to do essentially what we did last time. I'm going to have a bunch of inches on the bottom. In fact, I'm going to have 3 sets of these, so I might as well type them out now. Inches, inches, inches on bottom, and we want to go ahead and convert to feet, convert to feet, convert to feet on top. I know that there are 12 inches 12 inches there, and 12 inches right here. 1 foot, 1 foot, not cube feet, 1 foot. We're doing this because we want to cancel out inches 3 times. This is really inches, inches, inches. We want to cancel that out 3 times, leave us with feet, feet, feet. Dividing 122.04 by 12 3 times in a row is the same as doing 122.04 divided by 12 to the 3rd power. All right. If I put that into my calculator, 122.04 divide by 12 to the 3rd power, that's going to leave us with a grand total of 0.0706 inches. No, we have feet now. We have cubic feet. Very last step, I'll go ahead and switch over to orange, or yeah, we haven't used blue in a while. Let's go and use blue. We have cubic feet, 0.0706 feet cubed. I'm going to go ahead and convert that over to gallons because we want gallons. I see that we have cubic feet on top, so I need to put it on bottom. I don't know why I didn't just type that word instead of write it. Oh well. 1 gallon is equal to how many cubic feet? 0.134. Check me on that. I believe that's the number off the top of the first screen. I'm going to divide my number by 0.134. 0.134. And that's going to give us a grand total of 0.52. 0.526, somewhere around there, 0.526 gallons. If you have a 2-liter bottle of soda, that's equal to about half of a gallon. In other words, 2 of these 2-liter bottles of soda that you might buy at the store would fill about 1 gallon of, milk, water, whatever you're purchasing in gallons. So that's conversion with volumes. Remember, if you have cubic things, we need to divide 3 times in a row, not just 1 time in a row. Your assignment for tonight is the Converting Units worksheet. Hopefully this video helped out a little bit. As always, email me if you have questions. Let me know. I'd be glad to help. Bring your questions to class. Have a wonderful day.